city of Philly, where the birds take flight. Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights. Dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soars in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by. Bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry.
What's good, beautiful people? You guys are tuned into your Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talking, yours truly, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge into the game. And listen, you guys, we got some things to get into because this is going to be a very different game than what we're used to. Your starting quarterback, Jalen Hurts, will not be in due to suffering a concussion early in the Commanders game last week, but the main thing is still the main thing. The mission is still the mission. Nothing has changed. You still got to go out there and lace it up. Next man up, right? Ain't that right, Markus?
Next man up. The expectations are high for Kenny Pickett. Having looked at the whole game last week, he played okay. He didn't play bad. He wasn't lights out. He did what he needed to do. He managed the game. And when push comes to shove, he had our team with an opportunity to win at the game. And one of our best playmakers did not make the play, period. So looking at that, then you fast forward to today, and Kenny Pickett has had a week's worth of reps with the ones. My expectations are a little bit higher. I expect him to make some more of them deep throws. And I want to see Kenny Pickett run a little bit. I know he's not immobile. Let him do what he can do. I think it was a mistake kind of closing off the playbook, but I understand. And even with the criticisms of the last game, we still had an opportunity to win. We just didn't take advantage of it. We've only been beaten by one team this year, and that's Tampa Bay. Atlanta, we beat ourselves, and Washington, we beat ourselves. So, Kenny Pickett, handle your business. I don't need you to be great. I just need you to be good and competent. That's it. We got playmakers that'll take it from there. So get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and let them make plays. That's all we got to do.
It's funny you brought up the mobile element for Kenny Pickett because I'm watching the game from last week, and I was saying to myself, hey, Kenny, you got some wheels on you. Get out the pocket. You know, if it's not there, make something happen with your legs, right? Listen, your job right now is not to be the perfect quarterback. Your job is to go out there and win the football game and get yards, move the chains. That's it. You know, I felt like he was trying to stay within the guardrails a little bit. Yeah. And I can understand that to a degree, but when you're trying to win a football game, you got to do what needs to be done. So I fully expect Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni, and these guys to, especially with, like you said, especially with the week worth of game planning with Kenny Pickett under center. Right, he's got more reps with the ones. He's been spending a lot more time with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, just making sure those guys are on the same page, things like that. I expect a much more refined performance from Kenny Pickett. But like you said though, Kenny Pickett, the expectation shouldn't be for him to go out there and be Jalen Hurts or even be great. They just need Kenny Pickett to just manage this offense because you have talent that can pretty much take over a game at will. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, right? You have that offensive line. I fully expect the Philadelphia Eagles to really lean on their run game today. Lean on their run game. Lean on the Dallas Cowboys, who have struggled game in and game out to defend the run. Just to make sure I'm clear here, the Dallas Cowboys, they're giving up 4 yards per carry to offenses. That's 30th. That's 30th in the league. They're giving up 95.2 rush yards per game. That's 28th in the league, right? Well, I'm sorry, that's their offense. I sorely apologize. I'm reading these stats all wrong. They're giving up it's actually worse than what I originally said. Their defense is giving up 4.8 yards per carry. almost 5 yards to carry on the ground. That's 30th in the league, so that still holds up. And they're giving up 135.9 rushing yards per game. That's 27th in the league. So they can't stop the run, and you can get yards on them, especially before contact. So
Yeah.
I fully expect them to have a much better game plan, especially in getting Saquon Barkley involved, because you saw last week the Commanders in the second half, they pretty much just zoned in on Saquon Barkley and forced Kenny Pickett to make throws.
Yeah.
I think Kellen Moore will have more creative ways of getting that ball in Saquon Barkley's hands in space.
I agree. But here's one thing that I've been thinking about, and this comes from strictly ego.
Okay.
When
Your
you're in a
ego
game like
or Kellen Moore's ego?
This is my perspective of a team's ego, because I'm thinking this is what I would be thinking back in the day, right? Saquon is balling, but he ain't gonna get it on us. You see what I'm saying? So I could see a situation where Dallas is like, Kenny Pickett, you go crazy, but Saquon, you ain't doing this on us, bro. So Kenny Pickett can throw for 400, but Saquon ain't gonna do it on us. So will they sacrifice that? Hold on a second. Will they make that sacrifice to just say, okay, Kenny Pickett, we gonna give you the air because we don't think you're gonna be able to handle it, and we gonna concentrate on stopping Saquon because you ain't getting no records on us. You ain't getting 100 on us. Not gonna happen. It ends up becoming an ego/pride thing. You know what I mean? So I want to see if the Eagles offensive line can really dominate. We already know what the blueprint is on Micah Parsons. You just got to run at him. So we don't have any problem doing that. Their second best player on the defense is gone with Overshown. He's hurt. So I don't see a situation where we can't beat this team or why we should not beat this team. Because at the end of the day, after watching that tape against Washington, our offensive line played like crap. Mekhi Becton, oh, I'm a fan, bruh.
His worst game of the year?
Man, you going in the wrong direction. You taking the wrong steps. Our tight end blocking was brutal. It was absolutely horrible. When Grant Calcaterra is getting beat in front of his face, and that edge rusher is in Saquon's line of sight when he is getting the handoff. Come on, we got to be better than that. And our offensive line was not good, but our tight ends were even worse when it comes to blocking. And we have to get better like that. And don't forget, Cowboys, Giants, they gonna watch that tape. And then I expect them to do the same exact things. So I'm looking for a much better performance from Grant Calcaterra and what's the other guy? 47. Is that Uzoma?
CJ Uzoma.
Uzoma. We have to get a better performance out of them. We have to, because it was ugly. Because there's no reason Saquon Barkley should be getting 26 yards with 21 carries. That's all of them should be smacked upside the head, man. That is ridiculous. So we have to do a better job blocking. So I'm expecting to have a much better performance, man, because our offensive line was not good last week.
Well, that speaks to what Nick Sirianni talked about right after the game was over. He mentioned that there was a distinct lack of discipline by his football team on both sides of the football, right? Especially according to what you're saying with the offensive line, right? And the poor blocking by the tight ends. And then the defensively, right? Guys getting thrown out the game and, roughing the passer, which some of those are BS, but it is what it is. They called it.
It is what it is.
Unsportsmanlike conducts and blown coverages, whatever it may be. Like it appeared that when Jalen Hurts went down, some of the discipline went out the window. And they played like a team, if you ask me, that was on borrowed time. And they played like a team that was just trying to get through the game instead of win the game. I could be totally wrong, right? But just at how it looked, and I'm going off also how I felt as well. I'm kind of blurring those lines a little bit. It felt like they were a team that was just, let's just try to hold on. Let's just try to hold on because our quarterback is not here. Our backup can only do what he can do. But regardless, it goes back to the root that there appeared to be a lack of discipline, top to bottom on that football team. And I fully expect Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, Vic Fangio, those guys, I fully expect all those coaches to double down on what went wrong in the previous game.
Yeah, man. And it was It's silly stuff. The penalty on Jalen Carter that negated a sack. And I believe they went down and scored. The whole situation with CJ Gardner-Johnson, ain't really much you can do about that. That's just on CJ. It's like, bro, you a 7-year vet right now. I need you to live up to that moniker.
Even if the ref was targeting you a little bit, right? Because I'm of the belief that because of the first unsportsmanlike conduct, now they watching you.
Absolutely.
And you can't put yourself, even if it's a part of your game, right? Your game has to speak louder than your voice at every point in the game, right? But you have to have that mindset, or you have to have the presence of mind to understand that, you know what? Let me not put myself even in the vicinity of that situation. Even if the second one was BS. Even if it was BS, you can't put yourself in the position to receive that look from the ref. But I also, again, I struggle with this all the time, Coach, because I want my players to do what makes them great. And how do you played the game? And I don't know if you were a shit talker or not, but how do you toe that line of passion and performance?
It literally, in my opinion, it literally comes down to discipline. Period. It comes down to discipline. Because, and it's funny because I was just part of the competition committee's Zoom meeting. We talk about that stuff specifically. Troy Vincent talks about that specifically. They are trying to get that out of the game actively. They got Xavier Worthy for pulling up his shirt like he had a gun. They are not playing when it comes to that. Because, and I say it like this, when you get to that type of trash talking and a player like CJ Gardner-Johnson, let's be 100% with him. He got that street attitude from him. That's what you get from him. So that dialect is not going to be everybody's particular taste. You understand what I'm saying? And the NFL is trying to get rid of that. Point, period, end of paragraph. And the players know that. So that first penalty, when I saw the dude from the Commanders punch him in his face in front of the ref, and the ref threw the flag on CJ, the first thing I thought of was whatever he said must have been so far out of bounds that the ref was like, oh, hell no. You're not getting away with this. The dude punched him.
So why not throw 2 flags offset?
That's my point. Whatever CJ said must have been so far left, so far out of bounds, so far disrespectful that the ref looked at him like, oh,
I would have punched you too.
You know what I'm saying? So that was number one. And then when you got that type of reputation that precedes you, they got it, to your point. Now they got a short fuse. That is, to me, that is no different than when you look at some of these NBA games, everybody's quick to throw the whistle on Draymond. They know who they want to throw the whistle on because they know back when Ron Artest was playing, they know they're going to blow the whistle. Dennis Rodman, they're going to blow the whistle on you because you always pushing an envelope. And think about at the beginning of the year, you remember that game? I believe it was the first game of the year with Kansas City. When Kansas City got called for illegal formation like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, I think that was Baltimore.
Was it Baltimore?
Yeah, Baltimore. That was Baltimore. They were getting called for like the slightest toe being across the line of scrimmage. Like it seemed like they were trying to prove a point.
Yes.
The refs,
that is exactly what they were doing. Because in situations like that, and this is what most people don't understand, you hear this word a lot, or you hear this phrase. The NFL sent out a memo. When you hear that, that means the NFL is specifically targeting something, and they are going to go overboard.
Just to set a precedent.
Just to set a precedent. They did the same thing when they started this about the unnecessary roughness against the quarterback. They went overboard, and everybody was losing their shit. But they did that on purpose to send the message. CJ Gardner-Johnson, you walking into it with your eyes wide open. You pushing the envelope. You pushed the envelope when you took your helmet off in that one game.
He got
away with it. And you got to remember.
Because he took his helmet off. He got away with that.
He did. The second time he didn't. The second time his helmet came off, that was legit. The first time he did take his helmet off. But once again, You don't think these refs and the competition committee, they watch tape on everything. Everything. We talked about specifically to using replay assist to get plays right, even to the point where if refs, because there was a couple of guys that brought up missing face mask penalties, and the whole situation with I believe it was Dallas Goedert brought that up in the meeting, and they are actively looking to change that and trying to figure out a way. Well, replay assist so they don't miss nothing, especially egregious stuff. And I'm saying that to say they are always watching, so you can't get away from it, and the players know it because the NFL lets all of these teams know every week. They get a memo, they get a list, they get a reminder. This is what we're looking for. They do that stuff with all of the teams, but you got those guys that will continue to push the envelope. And it's a shame because CJ Gardner-Johnson is one of those guys where you are balancing his trash talk with his level of play.
Because it's a part of his game.
It's a part of him.
It's why he's the player he is.
Exactly.
You know?
But you got to have the discipline to be able to tone it down. You have to. You can crank it back up. You can crank it back up, but we all remember this in front of Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? That's trash talk. Everybody got mad at it because he did it to Tom Brady. But when you chirping like that and you dropping them in words and all of that other kind of stuff that the NFL doesn't want, and you already know with the technology the NFL has, they got microphones everywhere. Everything is for a morning show. Everything is for a podcast. Everything is for Hard Knocks. They recording everything. So they hear everything. So you can't get away with it. So CJ Gardner-Johnson has to be a better disciplined player, whether he likes it or not, because he cannot cost us a game because we are missing his presence. He cannot do that. I don't care what kind of player he is. I will take him not being able to talk as opposed to him not being able to play.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more.
That's a discipline thing, in my opinion. He just got to be better at it. CJ Gardner-Johnson should have a C on his chest. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
But you got to be better, bro. Period.
Yeah. Like you said, the bottom line is you're more valuable to us when you're on the field than off the field. Right. Barring injury, there's no reason you shouldn't be on the field. So he definitely has to get his affairs in order with that. And he even said, I think they spoke to him this week, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but they spoke to him and he said, "Listen, my job is to go out there, do what my coaches tell me, and don't say shit.
Yeah,
don't say nothing. You know what I mean?"
And
so I like his approach.
I'm gonna say the flip part about that is because the refs are so inconsistent. That's the other bad part.
That is another angle. That's another side of this thing that needs to be touched on. That these refs are inconsistent. These refs get sensitive themselves.
Yes. And
they get emotional themselves, and they can become vindictive. So,
absolutely.
So that's the other side of the coin, right? Yes, we definitely got to we talk about things from the letter of the law on that side, but we also got to definitely address the fact that some of these refs be on bullshit, Marcus. And sometimes they let their personal get mixed up in the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Maybe
absolutely.
Maybe they don't like how this player moves or plays, or maybe or maybe this player gives them a hard time, right? And they want to make sure they give them a hard time, whatever for whatever reason it may be, right? It's just always important, regardless of the situation, to police yourself. Police yourself. Always do what's in the best interest of your team.
Right.
And if you notice, BG does the most trash talking, but he's never got ejected. He's never got an unsportsmanlike conduct because his trash talk tends to be in the guardrails of the game. His trash talk is more ridiculous than disrespectful. You know what I mean?
Whistle to whistle.
Right. So maybe some of these guys need to take a page out of BG's trash talk book, right? But
it's hard, man.
It is hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard when you're a certain kind of dude.
Yeah.
And you play with a swagger. You play with an edge, like a Jalen Carter and like a CJGJ. It's tough. It's a tough line to toe.
And that's what got him there. That's what got him to this point. So now you telling him to just take it away, and I understand the frustration.
Yeah. And I highly doubt coaches said, "Hey, just stop talking." I think coaches say, "Hey, listen, I don't mind you trash talk. Just choose your words, brother."
You know what the coaches say? Like, come on, you got to be smart.
That's all.
You got to be smart. That's it. Because at the end of the day, it might happen again.
That part. That part. Make sure you
So,
guys smash that like button. You guys are tuned into your Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. So let's get into this quarterback situation a little bit more. Kenny Pickett will be the starter. Tanner McKee will be the backup. The Eagles did sign Ian Book to the practice squad. He will obviously be the emergency quarterback, barring injury to your first two quarterbacks. And Jalen Hurts is down with a concussion. I have a question to you about the future of Jalen Hurts as it pertains to these next two games, these next 2 weeks. And I'm curious, right? Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, the Eagles win this game. You lock down the division. The floor is the number 2 seed. That's where you're going to be. At best, you may get the 1 seed if something significant happens. But the floor is the number 2 seed. You win the division today. If the Eagles still have a line for the number 1 seed, do you think they should get Jalen Hurts back on that field in Week 18 against the Giants? What do you think should be their course of action as it pertains to getting Jalen Hurts back on the field prior to the playoffs?
I think it comes down to looking at what matchups will matter. What do we need to do to still lock up the number 1 seed? If obviously we would have to win out, but we would be hoping that Detroit loses. Who do they have to lose to? And is that a realistic possibility?
Right. That's a good question.
So that's what it comes down to. I would, and this is just my opinion, let's say we don't have it, right? Let's say it is what it is. Detroit handle business, and we going, like you said, the floor is number 2. So number 2 is locked up. I at least want to see Jalen Hurts in for a half. Because and this is just me, I don't want him going into the playoffs after 2 weeks off. I don't want to see that.
Agreed.
So I want to see him get some snaps, or because it can be a situation where he's taking all the reps with the ones in practice, and then Kenny Pickett starts again. I don't want to see that. We got to get right back in rhythm. We can't be brushing off rust going into the playoffs. So that is, to me, that's a slippery slope. He's not, the concussion is one thing, getting his head right. And I understand you got to take your time with the concussion protocol, but it's not like he is rehabbing a hamstring or something to that effect. This is different. His body is fine. So as long as everything, above the neck is okay, I need to get him back in rhythm ASAP. Because now we're in a situation where you can't have bad games. You can't have bad quarters. It's one and done. You try not to get promoted to fan. You gotta get in there and do what you gotta do. You got 4 games. That's it. You got 4 seasons. I need you to win today. Don't worry about next week. Don't matter what you did during the season. All that matters is you have to win today. So,
yeah, I feel you on that. The reality is you want Jalen Hurts going into the playoffs with confidence, with a rhythm, with pace. You want this offense going into the playoffs with a starting quarterback under center, at least the game prior, right? And even if it's for a half, right? Even if it's for 3 quarters. I mean, you're playing the Giants. That should be a layup game. You should be able to win that game in 3 quarters and sending your backup for the final quarter to kind of just coast and tread water, right?
Right.
So I tend to agree with you on that. As far as Kenny Pickett goes, we spoke briefly about how this offense may be able to function with him, right? He has A.J. Brown. He has Devontae Smith. He has Saquon Barkley. He has a solid tight end in Graham Calcaterra who can get open when given the opportunity. And he has that offensive line, and he still has the number 1 defense in football, right? If you're Kenny Pickett, what's going through your mind in this situation? And let's add some context to this. Kenny Pickett, from the area, a tri-state kid, grew up rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, has a chance to beat a rival, not just any rival, but the Dallas Cowboys in Philadelphia. What kind of opportunity is this for Kenny Pickett?
Honestly, I think this is a audition because this is how this is how guys get second chances. Because there's going to be a team sometime next year, in the preseason, that's going to be looking for a quarterback, or their situation is, not great, or we need somebody. We got a guy we think, but we need somebody to come into camp and push him. And so you hear all of that type of stuff, man. And this is, at the end of the day, this is an audition. Kenny Pickett wants to go somewhere and start, but he's in his situation, and that does add a little extra sauce to his situation because he at home, he playing in front of his people, and you want to put together a good showing. So, and let's not forget, man, Kenny Pickett was 14-10 with the Steelers. For as bad as people say he was, he had a winning record, and there's a lot of people that can't even say that. So, I don't know what happened. You didn't have the best offensive coordinator in the world, and guess what? It didn't work out for him. But you know what I say, man, coaching matters, and sometimes being in a different situation matters. I didn't think Kenny Pickett played that bad, with the exception of the one pick. But that one pick, to me, that was film study because he was sitting on that one. And he just made a great play. And when you get into fandom, a lot of people like to get one-sided, and you cannot forget the other guys get paid too.
The other guys watch films. The other guys are privy to your tendencies. The other guys are studying you just as much as you're studying them.
Absolutely, man. And because I look at it like that, because I made the comment, we've only lost 2 games. We've only lost 1 game. Right. Atlanta, we gave it away, and the Commanders, we gave it away. Somebody from the Commanders will be like, nah, we took that game from you. And that's fair, because from their perspective, they did what they had to do and came out with a dub. Because if the situation was reversed, we do the same damn thing.
Of course. So you got to take that with a grain of salt, and you got to take that for what it is, right? It's fandom. You got to take that for what it is. You can't take that for unbiased analysis, right? So yeah.
And here's one of these things where this is where you really have to separate yourself from what we do and what they do. And this is where I got to say, I'm going to trust and believe that Kellen Moore, Nick Sirianni, Jeff Stoutland are going to put together a game plan, and they got enough experience to have Kenny Pickett ready to start this game. I have to trust and believe that, period.
Yeah, I agree
Regardless, now, if he shits the bed, that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
Because
but you can insulate them, though. You can protect him. You can. They have to, again, I stand on this. They have to find creative ways to get that ball in Saquon Barkley's hands quick and in space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they gotta find a way to get their running game going. Without Jalen Hurts, right? The Jalen Hurts element is such a huge element of this run game. Yeah. And they're gonna stop Saquon. They're gonna sell out for it.
Exactly.
You said it earlier. So what's the counter to that, Marcus? What's the counter to somebody loading the box on you?
And then this is where it falls on Kellen Moore. This is where I'm looking at Kellen Moore like, bruh, I know last week you had to thin out the playbook, and rightfully so.
But you got enough film. You got enough film or tape.
You got enough film.
You got enough film for seeing what they did to you.
Well, it's not even that. It's you want to shrink the playbook because you got a starter in there. You got somebody playing that didn't get the reps in practice.
Yeah.
So you got to keep that in mind. But I think he went too far with it. I think Kenny Pickett is fast enough where he could have pulled the ball and ran the other way and wasn't nobody else out there because
they wouldn't expected it. You're so right. They wouldn't expected it.
No, they went full tilt 8 and when I did the tape, when I watched the tape, I want to say there was like 2 or 3 times where they had 9 men in the box, 9, and it was like they were daring you to throw the ball. And then when we did throw the ball, we had some good success. But and this is where I go back to, because we talked about this. We done talked about this at least 2 or 3 times, though. What do I say is you go back to the basics. A.J. Brown slant. Devontae Smith slant. They can't stop it. If he catches the ball, he going to break a tackle. And then what happens?
We've seen it.
Devontae Smith, wide open on a slant. He drops the ball. But he was wide open.
Wide open. That's a touchdown if you catch that, by the way.
The series before that, I think it was the series before that, A.J. Brown, ball gets in his hand. Good play by the DB, knocking the ball out before he secured it when he hit the ground.
And
Then you
Saquon
had
dropped a nice dime by
same thing with Saquon.
yeah.
Same thing with Saquon.
So yeah, to your point, right? Because I don't feel like Kenny was awful. I feel like Kenny made some throws that stressed the defense. But
exactly,
the playmakers, for some odd reason, the playmakers didn't do what they do.
They didn't do what they do.
And
the ball hit him in the hands. It wasn't like Washington stopped us. We got the ball in their hands. They just did not literally come up with the catch. I was like, what the hell is it with Washington that we have our playmakers can't make plays? We had Quez Watkins a couple years ago, and then we got last year, Brandon Graham gets that late BS penalty. It was like, come on, man. Like it's weird things that happen with Washington, man. We have an opportunity to win the game, and we just dropped it.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, man. Kenny Pickett played okay. I think he will play better with a week's worth of reps with the ones. And they should open that playbook up a little bit. And I'm looking for Kenny Pickett to run. And for God's sakes, man, Kenny Pickett, Jalen Hurts, anybody else, go on over, across the street to Citizens Bank Park and hook up with Bryce Harper or somebody and learn how to damn slide. Come on. If Jalen Hurts slides in that situation, he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah. If he slides, because you already got the first down. If you slide, you're good.
And I'm like, come on. And I said this, man, as soon as it happened, when I saw his face and his eyes, because I was live streaming, I was like, oh, he's done.
Yo, it's funny you say that.
I've been in that situation.
Because when I saw it too, but what was funny, when I saw it initially, I'm like, he don't look right. Like I said it to myself. I was hoping that I was wrong. I was hoping that he got his bell rung slightly, but I was hoping. I in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I don't like his body language, because to be honest, see what people overlook is Jordan Mailata picked him up off the ground really quickly.
Yeah,
and it gave people the impression that he was good.
Yeah,
right. If Jordan Mailata is not there, he's on that ground longer.
Absolutely.
If Jordan Mailata is not if Jordan Mailata is not there, you could just saw how he rolled up and Jordan Mailata picked him up off the ground. I promise you, if Jordan Mailata was not there, he would have been on the ground a lot longer. But
let's be real, that's his second one. Because remember that game? I'm trying to remember what game it was. Was it the Atlanta game? Where he got tackled the same way.
That was the Atlanta game, I think.
Where his head hit the ground and then somebody came on top of him and basically just pressed his head in the ground. Yeah. And when you get tackled like that and you fall on your forehead and then the force comes, here's the telltale sign. When he got up, go back and watch that clip. Watch his eyes. His head was down, but his eyes was up, looking at the ref, trying to talk to the ref.
He was like,
that's your body trying to reboot, so everything's moving in slow motion. So his eyes are okay, but his head he wasn't quite there yet. The process hadn't started yet. I've been in that situation, so I know what I'm talking about. And it is a weird feeling, because it almost feels like, for lack of a better explanation, it's like your fingertips are tingling and somebody just hit a big gong right by your ears.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear the sound, but you feel the vibration. And your body it's almost like your body is slow motion, and your hearing is almost like you're underwater. That's the best way I can describe it. And it's a weird feeling. You're in most situations, not all, in most situations, you are conscious. So you know what's going on and you're trying to shake it off. And eventually the volume comes back up and then you good. But it takes a second. And he didn't get it. If that ref had not been in his face, or to your point, if Jordan Mailata had picked him up and turned him the other way, where he had a couple more seconds to walk and get it together before that ref got in his face and looked at him. Because I'll guarantee you, they've told the ref to do that. Look at him in his eyes, get in his face, so you can get a good look. That ref was on top of it. But if Jordan Mailata turns him to the outside, towards the sideline, and if he gets one or two steps before the ref gets in his face, I don't think he comes out of the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, just for clarification, it appears that it was actually the Washington game, the first Washington game, where he suffered that that slight concussion or bumped his head, right? So
yeah,
both concussions happened against Washington. Just for clarification, I want to talk about this defense a little bit more, because there's this weird notion that the Eagles defense has been exposed. The Commanders broke the Eagles defense, and all of this bloviating and sensationalized jargon when it comes to the Eagles defense. and for me, when it comes to judging a defense or judging a team in any way, I'm paying attention to trends, not what you did 1 week and then you didn't do it again for another 10 weeks. Like I'm paying attention to trends. What are you constantly allowing to happen to you, right? What's happening on a game to game basis? And when I look at this Eagles defense, I say to myself, well, I have 10 weeks of film of this defense being elite. And they had a bad performance in one game after that. So what am I going to put my stock into? Am I going to put my stock into the 10 games where they were the best of the best, or the one game where they got caught lacking a couple times? Like, what? It always cracks me up when people judge a team just off of one game. Because we've seen teams lose teams they probably shouldn't lose to. It's the NFL. Like you said earlier, these guys get paid too, and
other things get paid too.
Anything can happen in these games. Yeah. So again, I'm going to buy into the trends rather than what the Commanders did or thought they did.
Right. I don't get too high or low on that, man. Because the truth of the matter is the defense did what they were supposed to do to win. Regardless of what Jaden Daniels did, the Eagles still forced a turnover at the end that should have sealed the game.
Agreed.
That's all you want. I'm expecting Jaden Daniels is that dude.
Agreed.
We've all come to that Jaden Daniels is Rookie of the Year, and he has earned it. He has played so far above and beyond his expectations. It's ridiculous. And everybody that's looking at Caleb Williams,
I think Bo Nix challenged him a little bit, but people might choose Jaden.
Rightfully so. But with Jaden Daniels is doing some stuff that Bo Nix can't do. And Jaden Daniels is still dropping dimes in there. He threw an incredible pass to Terry McLaurin. That was on the money and perfect. Yep. So, but having said all of that, the Eagles defense still forced a turnover. They made the young man make a mistake. They made him make a mistake, and we capitalized off of it. And when push came to shove, the Devontae Smith drops the ball. We give it back. And when he had another opportunity,
he won.
He took advantage of it.
Right.
I ain't got no bones about that.
At all.
When he had it, he shouldn't have got it. But when he got his opportunity, he took he made the most of it. He made the throw he had to make the throw. We didn't make the catch when we had to make the catch. That's the way it goes. And we take the L for that.
Absolutely.
So but when you look at it as a whole, what our defense did exactly what they were supposed to do. And not to mention, it's going to be a whole different set of circumstances if Jalen Hurts is still in the game. We keep going on some of those drives. We probably get, let's say we at least score on one of those 4 in the red zone that we ended up coming up with 4 trips and only 6 points. You know what I mean? So the situation is a little bit different. We eat up a little bit more time on the clock. But the biggest thing is we probably get in the end zone at least once. And that makes the difference because we got 4 more points on the board. So, but woulda, coulda, shoulda don't do nothing but rhyme.
Absolutely.
So, and it might come to a situation where we got to see them again. So I'm still good with what we did. They got that L. We gotta hang that to give it to them because they did what they had to do. But I'm gonna use your word. Y'all want to face that buzzsaw of the Eagles defense again? All right, you go ahead. You might get what you asked for.
Yeah, because we saw, and again, not to harp, because it is what it is, right? We saw where that game was trending. And, when Hurts got his bell rung, everybody got their bell rung. You feel Absolutely. What I'm saying? So that is what it is. But I'm of that mindset where I have no qualms, no reservations, no doubt in this defense. My trust is unequivocally theirs. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They've done too much. They've shown us too much for people all of a sudden to have these concerns. And I don't respond to everything, but I read. I read the sentiment of the fans on Twitter, the comment section, social media, whatever it may be, right? And some of the people who are so easily rattled by a loss, so easily rattled by your defense showing a slight moment of weakness in a game that's very volatile, in a game that's very unpredictable no matter who you're playing. It just always blows my mind when I see people have the product they have in this Eagles team and they still have this fear in their blood. I'm sorry,
Right.
Marcus. Ain't no fear in my heart when it comes to this Eagles team. I seen this Eagles team run with the best, stop the best. I seen what they did to Lamar Jackson.
Exactly.
I seen how uncomfortable they made him and made him force him to make the decisions he made. I seen what they did to Joe Burrow in the second half of that game. I seen what they did to Matthew Stafford. You feel what I'm saying? I've seen what they've done to these top of the line quarterbacks. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm not folding for anybody. And if anybody folding around me, get the fuck off the bus.
And that goes back to you want to comment on the game, but you don't watch the game. Even this morning on the NFL Network, I was watching the show with it's the Good Morning Football crew.
Yeah.
For game day. And what are they talking about? They talking about what happened with Zach Ertz and Nick Sirianni. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They're looking for stuff to talk about when it comes to Philly that ain't got nothing to do with what you see on the field. They just looking for controversy to talk about. Because if you heard Zach Ertz, if you heard Nick Sirianni, they already done talked about it. And it was like, much respect for each other, blah, blah, blah. They did the whole coach speak. It's all good. Yeah. That's 3 days ago. And y'all still talking about it because you still trying to drum up something about the dysfunction in Philadelphia. And it's like, you ain't going to stop it. You ain't going to stop it. But we going to get on the field and keep busting ass and keep winning games. And that's all that matters. That's it. So the only thing I want to see today is you already know, like, again, shout out Kellen Moore, but you already know they're going to load the box on you. It's going to be 8 men in the box. Please, please, please pitch the ball outside to Saquon. Okay? The only way you can be 8 men in the box is if you get your guy on the corner and outrun him. Everybody, some of them big linebackers and them big defensive linemen ain't going to be able to chase all the time. Get them outside and stop trying to run up the damn middle all the time. That's all you got to do. I don't know if he's going to do it, but
you talk about it all the time though. You it's so funny. Every game, you always text me and say, "Yo, where's the off tackle runs, man? Where's the outside zone runs? What are we doing? Like we got Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson out there and Saquon Barkley. What are we doing?
Watch today, because I saw a tell today. I saw a tell when I was watching film on the Washington game. So they're gonna have a loaded backfield, right? Gun formation, loaded backfield. But it'll either be Uzoma or whoever's playing fullback. He'll be at 4. Jalen or Kenny Pickett will be at 5. Normal depth for the gun quarterback. Saquon will be at 6. So it'll be fullback, quarterback, and then so the depth is going to be different. And that lets you know that Saquon is getting the outside handoff. So it's a sweep play from gun formation, but basically when Kenny Pickett gets the ball, he's going to reverse out and hand it off to the outside. And Saquon's jetting to the corner. It's basically a sweep play from gun formation.
Well, that's smart because obviously you attack the edges, but you also want to slow down that pass rush.
Right, but what it does is when you got 8 men in the box, that's my whole point about getting him outside. Everybody's chasing. And when they ran that play against Washington, he ended up getting like 7 yards on that play. And everybody's chasing. Even the end man on the line of scrimmage that had the best shot at getting him can't catch him because he's that fast. And I'm like, if I can see this, I know you watching the same film I'm watching. Dude, put it in the playbook and use it often until they prove that they can stop it. That's my thing. They run a play outside and then they don't go back to it until the 4th damn quarter. And it's like, bro, you run that till the cows come home. If they can't stop it, keep running it. And Kellen Moore was notorious for doing that when he was with the Cowboys. He would run that same play-action play with Zeke and then hit the tight end in the flats. And we couldn't stop it because we got so concentrated so much on stopping Zeke. And they would kill us with it. And I was like, I ain't mad at them. You run it till they stop it, and we couldn't stop it. Why can't we have that same logic? And I don't understand. That goes back to sometimes they be outsmarting themselves. It's not that complicated. Not that complicated, man. And just there is no reason on God's green earth that Saquon Barkley should have had 26 yards on 21 carries.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Kellen Moore like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta do better than that.
It seemed like they were just running their head running up against a wall. Like there was no adjustment to get their running game going in that second half. They just thought, hey, Saquon, the offensive line, they're just going to get the push in. He's going to find the hole somewhere. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. You know, I'm looking at the numbers here. We got over 200 people on the live stream total between channels. I'm seeing under 100 likes, man. Make sure you guys step your weight up, man. The math not math, and we need y'all in this thing, man. Listen, the content don't move without y'all. You guys are the engine to this locomotive. You feel me? So make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys remain engaged in the content. You guys are tuned into your Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and Tone DeShows II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. So a lot on the line today. NFC East crown for the Eagles. You win this game, you win the division. You win this game, your floor is the second seed, right? I've been looking at some of these playoff matchups, right? And a lot's been shuffling. A lot's been shuffling. Are there any matchups that you're thinking about in the playoffs? And I'm operating under the assumption that we remain at the second seed. Because Detroit is the number 1 seed, there's a chance that they could have a divisional game in the divisional round. It could end up being Green Bay. It could end up being Minnesota. It all depends on how it falls. But based on everything I've seen, no matter what happens in that wild card round, if the Eagles take care of business, they're going to avoid Green Bay. But they can end up facing the Vikings. They can end up facing the Falcons. They can end up facing. I'm trying to think who else is in there. You want to scroll down for me real quick because I see it on your screen right there. You want to scroll down a little bit? They could end up facing
Packers. That's it.
Okay.
Rams.
Rams. Yeah. So Rams, because Rams are still fighting for a spot right now. They're in the hunt. So again, they can end up facing the Rams because you're the second seed. You're likely going to end up playing the 4th seed, the 5th seed, or the 3rd seed. And the Lions, if they remain the 1, they always get the lowest seed in the divisional round.
Right.
And that could very well be Green Bay, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, I ain't scared of nobody.
No, of course not.
I look at it. Me, man, if I had a preferable to face somebody in the first round, my preference would be the Falcons because they shouldn't have beat us the first time, and we're a much better team than we played them. But I don't know how it's going to shake out. And quite honestly, I don't care. Whoever we get is who we going to get, and we got to take care of business. Because guess what? It ain't not one team in this list that's got a defense like ours, period.
That's a fact.
So I'm not worried about nobody. Everything we got to do comes on what we do on offense. If our offense can be up to par, we get the ball to Saquon and we get the ball to A.J. Brown. If we can do that and we can avoid, the second half like we had against Washington, if we can avoid that and play our brand of football, our smash mouth brand of football, there is nobody that can beat us. Nobody.
I agree with you 100%. And as the second seed, you pretty much have a home game up until the conference championship, and that's if it's Detroit.
Exactly.
So I think the second seed is not as bad as some people make it out to be. Especially when you've beaten most of these teams here. You've beaten the Commanders, you've beaten the Rams, right? Obviously, we look at the Atlanta game, and they did beat us, but we know how that really should have shook out. You haven't played Minnesota, you haven't played Detroit. But, regardless, I look at all these teams, like you said, they don't have a defense like ours. And the only team that even has the ceiling of what our offense could reach is probably Detroit.
Probably.
But regardless, I'm with you. There's no matchup in this playoff run that shakes me or rattles me. Not one bit. I want to tap you about the injury report. I'm looking at it right now. So, and this is the injury report from Friday. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has already been ruled out in this game. Also, Britton Covey has been ruled out with a neck. Will Shipley has been ruled out with a concussion. Nakobe Dean is doubtful with an abdomen injury. Now, that's interesting because he did go down in that game, but I'm not sure if he came back in or not. I know Oren Burks was out there for a bit, but speak on, and also Bryce Huff is questionable with the wrist. His 21-day practice window has been open. But the Nakobe Dean element, if he can't go, that's Oren Burks in there.
Yeah.
Speak on the changes that will need to be made.
See, I don't know what Vic Fangio is going to do. Because Vic Fangio, I trust him. Back to that trust thing. I trust Vic Fangio to have these boys ready. Vic Fangio to me is getting into that Jeff Stoutland territory. Whoever he's got in front of him, he will find a way to get them ready to play.
Okay.
So he's not going to be in sync like Nakobe is. The big thing is, are they going to test him in coverage? Because that's what it's all going to come down to. I trust that he can make a tackle. You know what I mean? So Zach Bond is going to be picking up a lot of slack. Will they attack him? I don't know. That depends on what Dallas wants to do with Cooper Rush and all of that type of stuff. Because I'm looking for Dallas to go with their tight end a lot today. Because they ain't got any. Who else they got on offense besides look for their tight end and look for Kevontae Turpin?
Yeah, because CeeDee Lamb, I'm glad you said it. CeeDee Lamb has been shut down for the remainder of the season with a shoulder. They have no Trevon Diggs.
Yep.
On the defensive side, no Overshawn at linebacker. They're hamstrung in many ways, and Cooper Rush depended heavily on CeeDee Lamb. Heavily.
Absolutely.
So now, who's your go-to guy? Who can you trust to make a play on this defense?
And the offensive line has not been playing great. So, in my opinion, I think the Cowboys were stupid because they do all of these. And I would have to watch film on him a little bit more because I'm not sure how good he is coming off the line of scrimmage in the slot. Would be Kevontae Turpin because he's their most dangerous weapon, and you ain't gonna punt to the kid every day. Right. So you got to figure out a way to get him involved in the offense without him coming in motion and doing a jet sweep. It's got to be something better than that because Jalen Carter's right there in the middle, and he has been known to blow that up. So you got to come up with something different, and we got to put somebody else on and just take him away. So now who do you go? Who's Quinyon Garden? You know what I mean? So who's your number one option at wide receiver now with the injuries that you have? Your best playmaker, question. In my opinion, is Kevontae Turpin.
Oh, well, Turpin, yeah. I think Turpin has the speed, but I don't think he has the route discipline and the secure hands to be a go-to guy. He can make a play. So I guess technically he's a playmaker, but I don't trust him down to down.
Right.
Whereas though Ferguson, I think Ferguson is their surest hands right now. And you might see them spam him and try to get him involved in unique ways.
But who's okay if they do that and he gets shut down? Where's your other options coming from?
I don't trust that kid Tolbert, that guy Tolbert. I don't trust him at all.
Yeah. Apparently they don't like
Rico Dowdle. Rico Dowdle has come on. Recently.
Yeah, Dowdle and what's the little running back that the Deuce Vaughn?
Deuce Vaughn. They don't trust him. I haven't seen him out there in a minute.
No.
And Cowboys fans were high on him. They were punch drunk on him, and I don't see him out there.
I just thought he was a good story during the draft. So, but yeah, Jerry did somebody a favor with that one. So his dad worked in the front office. I'm like, come on, man.
Really? Oh, there we go.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't know that.
was that Hard Knocks? Whatever it was.
I had no idea his dad worked in their front office. That's
was
such
the
a
thing.
Cowboys move, man.
They let his dad call his son and let him know that the Cowboys was about to draft. So it was a whole thing that was emotional and all that kind of stuff. But mind you, he in the front office. So Jerry Jones is handing him the phone like, go ahead and let him. And it was like, okay, that's great. But the reality of the situation is, was there somebody else on that board that could have got a shot? But it is what it is. I ain't mad. It ain't what you know is who you know. So
yeah, man, it's crazy.
So we just gotta take care of this.
My bad. Kyle Kokorski.
Huh?
Kyle Kokorski. My man, Kyle Kokorski called him. He called because I said Rico Dotto started to come on, right? He called. He said, "Toe, you mean Spider Rico?"
Spider Rico. Why they call him that?
So have you seen Rocky, the first one?
Yeah.
So the fighter that Rocky was going to fight was his name was Spider Rico, and he was a terrible fighter, right? And he was overrated. He was known as just this fighter that been beating up on chumps. You know what I mean? So like it's basically like somebody whose name is bigger than what he actually does.
Yeah, he was
you
a
know what I mean? It's just
that's what they used to call him back in the day. He was a soup can.
A tomato can, right?
A tomato can.
Oh man. Oh my God, that's funny. Spider Rico, that's funny. That tickled me, man. I ain't gonna front.
You went way back for that one.
That tickled me. Spider Rico, that is hilarious. Shout out to you, Kyle. I appreciate you. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Subscribe to Pro Fan Talk. Subscribe to Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge to the game. We do got a super chat right here from my man S Blunt. He says, in the playoffs, would you go for the touchdown versus the field goal? I'm trying to remember in the context of what he was talking about.
In the playoffs, let me say it like this: in the playoffs, you be smart.
Right, you be smart. Play smart until you got to take a risk.
Yeah, that's a flow of the game question. If your offense has been unstoppable, then you go for the touchdown. But you got to see how the game is flowing. If their defense is playing well, that sort of situation. So that's you can't put a blanket statement out that you got to be in the flow of the game. Because let me be honest with you, that decision right there, I think that is what may cost
Detroit.
Dan Campbell. Detroit, absolutely.
I agree.
Because she's still trying to gamble, and the stakes go way up when you in the playoffs. So
yeah, and in the playoffs, there are games like you said. If your offense is humming and you can't be stopped, okay, all right. But there's games where points are at a premium.
Yeah,
you got to take them. You got to take them because it could be one of those games where you lose by 2 points and you could have kicked the field goal, but you just have to go for it earlier. You know what I mean? So like you gotta you have to weigh your options. And I also feel like Nick Sirianni has done that very well over the past several weeks. I feel like Nick Sirianni hasn't overthought the game himself in terms of decision making.
Agreed.
I feel like Nick Sirianni has the most they can talk about with Nick Sirianni now is stuff that's going on off the field, and even then those are reaches. So I look at Nick Sirianni as a guy who's, how do you say, he's leveled out as a decision maker.
Absolutely.
Game in and game out. And I don't have any problems with him making in-game decisions, during this playoff run.
Yeah. If y'all still talking about his interactions with players and stuff like that, stuff that happens off the field and not on the field, I'm okay with that. Go for it.
Right. I couldn't agree more. All right, so before we get out of here, you guys know what we do here. Again, make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk and Chalk It Up Sports. The like button is life in this YouTube space. So,
yes, sir.
Again, like I said, you guys know what we do here. Before we get out of here, we're going to give you guys our bold predictions, our keys to the game, our score predictions. But we always start with the keys to the game. So, with everything that we've discussed, Marcus, what would you say are your keys to the game for the Eagles offense and defense? What needs to happen in order for them to come out of this game victorious?
My main key to the game today is blocking by our tight ends, period. I don't care what our defense is doing. I know defense, to your point, defense has been stellar all year. As long as they stay consistent, we good. I think today's game are our tight ends specifically. I ain't even going to say offensive line. our tight ends specifically must do a better job of blocking. That's the only thing I'm gonna be looking at. Because to me, it was that bad, and it cost Saquon some big runs, and we can't have that. The margin for error is almost nothing right now. So I just need us tight ends. You got to block, and let's get through this game clean. We don't need no injuries.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And defensively,
what's his name? The backup linebacker,
Oren Burks.
That's going to be the key. Can he play up to par? Again, just like Kenny Pickett, I don't need him to be great. I just need him to be good and competent.
He's good in run defense. I just want to see what he does in coverage.
Exactly. I just need him to step up, make a tackle when a tackle needs to be made. That's all. If he gets a sack, great. Anything, sacks, pass breakups, tackle for losses, all of that's gravy. All I need him to do is not give up a big play. Everybody else is going to do what they do their thing. So hopefully Zach Bond can pick up some of that slack. But you never know how that works out based on what kind of scheme Dallas is going to run. So I'm expecting Nolan Smith to get home. I'm expecting Jalen Carter to get home. Jalen Carter, dude, you got to get your emotions in check. You got to be smart. CJ Gardner-Johnson, they're looking for you. But those two players in particular, the refs are looking for you to screw up. And you got to know that. So we can't have no late. Don't even give somebody an opportunity to flop. You know what I'm saying? So when the whistle blows, get your ass back to the huddle. That's simple.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And we got a super chat here from my man, The Perspective with Brooklyn 80s. Thank you for the super chat, Perspective. He says, how close does Saquon get to the record today?
It depends on if they run him outside.
That's a good point. Let me see how much.
Jalen Hurts plays in that game last week, Saquon has about 170. I believe that.
Think he had 100 in the first quarter. I think he gets 200.
Exactly. He would have gotten close. But here's the thing, because everybody was talking about the Eric Dickerson thing. First of all, I don't mind that Eric Dickerson said he don't want him to break the record. I'm good with that. As a player, you want to be remembered.
Yeah, but there was a point earlier in the season where he said, like he doesn't mind if he breaks the record. It kind of seems like he's been wishy-washy about it.
But it don't matter. At the end of the day, I don't want nobody to break my records at Eastern Kentucky. I'm the all-time leading rusher. That's
the competitor in you, though. I like
Absolutely.
That. I don't mind the competitor.
So I understand that. And my thing was do you think that Eric Dickerson is not going to say congratulations if he does? Yeah, sure he will. But I'm with Eric. I want to keep my records, period. Don't take it no further than that. It ain't hating. It ain't nothing like I want to keep my records.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think people get. I ultimately feel you, right?
Warm and fuzzies, man, and it don't.
No. I ultimately feel you in terms of, the competitive nature, and it's like, hey, yeah, you want your record to hold up, because it's a hard record to break. And I think he did it
Absolutely.
he did it in 16 games on 333 carries, right, or 300 something, some crazy number of carries. But I think Saquon has a chance to break it in significantly less amount of carries.
Absolutely. Saquon, I did the math on this.
And Dickerson talks a lot about, well, if he does break, he has 17 games. Kind of like and that's where he lost me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was with him until he said, and if he does break it, he did it in 17 games. Like, okay, all right, so you're already kind of loading the deck on what you're going to say if he does break
You did it in 16 when OJ had done it in 14.
Right. So you got to keep, you can't keep moving that goalpost, and then even beyond that, it's like, for me, the game count doesn't matter. It's how many touches.
How many touches?
In my opinion, how many opportunities you had. That's how I look at it. That's the math.
Saquon got 65 less carries right now. 65. So you mean to tell me with a 5.9 average times 65, he would obliterate that record. But he's not going to get 65 carries. He might get 40 to 45. He might get 50 if he's lucky. So with that, depending on what the defense does, he's got a good opportunity to do it if he has to play both games. But now you got to factor in Saquon's attitude, his personality. This is the same guy that said, let the young boys eat. True. So if it's close and we got everything locked up, I don't know if he's going to do it because he's just that guy.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm so upset of how the Washington game ended up. because I don't think I honestly I don't think
he could have broke it today.
Yes.
Yeah.
If he had that 170 or the 200 what we thought he was going to get when he had 100 in the first
quarter,
dude, he was about to, and Washington knew it. You saw their faces on the sideline. They knew he was about to wreck shop. And then it was good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If it comes down to that last game, I don't think he'll get it because we'll be at a situation where now you start to ask the question, why are you playing him? Is the risk worth the reward? And no, it's not. Because we looking at the playoffs. We're not looking at what's going on right here. So if he doesn't do it, if he doesn't just go off this game, or it's a situation where he has like less than 100 yards to get it, I don't think he's gonna get it. So he's got to go off this game. And I don't think, like I was saying, is Dallas gonna have that pride? Like, well, he ain't gonna do that on us. So I need Kellen Moore to come up with a game plan, and I need you to stop taking him off the damn field when we in red zone and we in, put him in the packages, man. And but we'll see what's gonna happen. But the way things are going, and the way us having the number 2 seed all but locked up, I don't think it's worth the risk.
Yeah. Ultimately, he's more valuable to you in the playoffs, right? And if everything's locked up and you have no shot at the number 1 seed, you rest your guys, and you rest your guys, right? I do want Jalen Hurts to get some reps in that Giants game though. Just for the record though, Barkley is 268 rushing yards away from breaking the record. 268 rushing yards.
You can get that.
Yeah. And that's very possible to get against these next 2 opponents. But again, it all depends on how things flow outside of the Eagles building, as it pertains to the competitors and their peers. Nonetheless, those were the keys to the game, you guys. Thank you, the perspective. We appreciate you for asking that question. Now, let's get to our bold predictions here, right? And this may go right in line with what we were talking about with Saquon Barkley. Do you have any bold predictions for this game?
I don't know if that's bold. Kenny Pickett goes over 250.
That may be bold. Because I think they're going to lean in their running game today heavily. So that could be bold. And 250 tells me that he was moving the chains.
I think he's going to go over 250. I think AJ's going to have over 100. And AJ's going to score, but I don't think Kenny Pickett's going to have a ball in the air over 30 yards.
Interesting. So you don't think
it's going to be quicks. It's going to be quicks and plays. Get the ball in his hands and make him make somebody miss.
See, I think they're going to push the ball a couple times. They're going to stress that defense to keep them honest. They're going to do that. The question is, will they connect?
Yeah,
that's the question. Because I do think they're going to keep things within the guardrails a little bit, but I think they're going to have their moments where they want to, okay, let's stress them now. Let's make sure they stay honest and they respect that we got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith out there. So I see what you're saying though.
Look at the deep throw he threw against Washington.
Yo, the way
was that a back shoulder throw, or was that just underthrow and AJ just made a play?
AJ made that thing look purposeful.
Exactly. Because AJ had his man beat. So if he leads him, if he throws the ball he needs to throw, AJ's in the end zone.
Oh man, that was funny. When he threw that, I was like, oh, thank God for AJ. Thank God for him. You feel what I'm saying? Shout out to AJ Brown, man.
But you know what? That is a perfect situation where we talk about you get throws like that when you didn't get any reps. Because you don't have a feel for AJ's speed anymore. Because you're not throwing to him every day. People don't practice is so important. He knows the offense, but you have to have that mental feel of, all right, AJ's here, Devontae's over here, who's guarding him? That's the type of stuff that quarterbacks get to know, and they understand what they players are going to do and how fast they are. And how fast that AJ comes out of a break. How fast that Devontae can go hit that in route. You understand how fast those things are, so your timing comes into play. That's why you need reps in practice. So it is very difficult for somebody to come off the bench like Kenny Pickett did. That's why you usually want those short passes, because it's hard to mess up a short pass. The
Right.
deep passes is where you need to touch and to feel. And if you get
Timing,
5
yeah.
passes a game in practice during the week, you can't get it off of that.
Right. It would have to be like a blown coverage for you to just take a shot like that regularly. Like you would have to like see something like wide open, like, okay, I gotta take this. You
Yep.
know? So I feel you on that. Here's my bold predictions. I believe the Eagles defense forces 3 turnovers today.
Nice.
I think the Eagles defense forces 3 turnovers and gives Kenny Pickett a short field 3 times,
Nice.
which can
Dig it.
lead to easy points.
Dig it.
So 3 turnovers by the defense. I could get into the specifics and what they look like, but I won't do that. I want to hedge my bet a little bit. So 3 turnovers. Are we counting turnover on downs as turnovers?
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, 3 turnovers forced by the defense.
As long as the defense gets off the field.
Got it. Now, offensively, I'm going to say
When you get done, look at Bam. Look at Bam in the chat.
Let me see.
Rushing yards for Kenny Pickett. Good question.
Ooh, that is a good question.
Because Kenny Pickett can run pretty well.
I said
He
we were talking about that. I was honestly shocked that Kenny Pickett didn't run the ball like he did in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Like in Pittsburgh, he was not afraid to get out of there.
Absolutely.
And it just seemed like he was hesitant for some reason. Like, now, granted, he did hurt his ribs in that game. So maybe he was kind of hesitant a little bit, right? So that could affect his willingness to run today. It could. We'll see. But my offensive bold prediction, because I said 3 turnovers by the defense, my offensive bold prediction, I will go out on a limb here, and I will say Saquon Barkley rushes for 170 yards.
Nice.
Rushes for 170 yards. Kenny Pickett throws for 225 plus.
Ooh. So we're talking about 400 plus yards of offense?
Hold on, wait. Because if my turnover thing holds true, then they're not getting those yards. So let me backtrack a little bit. Saquon Barkley gets his 170 rushing yards, right? Defense gets their 3 turnovers. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both have a touchdown.
Okay.
Those my bold. That's my bold prediction. That's my bold prediction.
Do we have a breakdown with special teams this week?
Like we break down or
our punter has been horrible.
The past, yeah, he's normally been good though.
He's normally been solid.
Yeah, I'm not gonna kill him yet because he's been more solid than anything else.
Bruh, just do not kick the ball to Kevontae Turpin. Please do not. That's bad for business. Don't do it.
Yeah, honestly, if I'm Michael Clay, I'm saying, listen, just kick it out of bounds every time.
Out of bounds, bro. Don't give him do not put the ball in his hands. He is proven to be dangerous. And I love Kevontae Turpin because I was watching him in the XFL, and I'm so happy that guys like that, because that reminds me of my experience going through the World League. You got a guy that finally got his shot in the, because I want to see that dude succeed, just not against us.
Right. So yeah. Braden Mann, kick it out of bounds. Yeah, kick it out of bounds, man. Don't be like the Giants like they did with D-Jack. Tom Coughlin was mad as hell. He said, "Yo, I told you to kick it out of bounds." But yeah, that's my bold prediction, you guys. 3 turnovers forced by the defense. Saquon Barkley rushes for 170 yards. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both have a touchdown. So those are my bold predictions. Now, let's get to our score predictions, my friend. Do you have score predictions for this game?
27-10.
It's very reasonable, actually. That's actually where I was thinking about going. I'm going to say Eagles win. I'm going to say Eagles win 27-13. 27-13.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
three touchdowns, 2 field goals.
For us. Well, for us, that is 3 touchdowns, 2 field goals, yes. Mm-hmm. And for them, that's 1 touchdown, 2 field goals.
Right. So everybody, I'm
or
saying
two
that.
touchdowns and a missed field goal, however you want to slice it. But
Well, I'm looking at it offensively,
Yeah.
and to me, that means everybody's getting involved.
agreed.
Everybody's getting so. To your point, that means AJ gets
got
his, Devontae gets his,
Saquon
Saquon gets his.
There we go.
There you go, and you put us in position to get 2 more from Jake.
Yeah. So you said 27-10. I'm going to say 27-13.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You guys, that's today's show. We appreciate you guys for locking in. As always, man, smash that like button. Smash that like button. And by the way, smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to Pro Fan Talk. My man, Coach Markus, does amazing work. Go subscribe to him at Pro Fan Talk. Go subscribe to myself at Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. We're almost there, you guys. Week 17. Who would have thought? This whole season feels like a blur, but we're here, and it's been exciting. And we got one more week of football after this one, and then we go into the playoffs. You guys,
we in the driver's seat, man.
I need everybody lockstep. I don't need no half stepping. I don't need nobody looking shaky around me. When I'm going to war, I don't need nobody that's afraid to pull the trigger. I'm sorry. I need killers around me. I need assassins. I need cold-blooded bodyguards around me. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Smash that like button. Eagles Cowboys today at 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. Going to be an exciting game. Big game for everybody. You got a chance to lock up the division. You got a chance to secure the number 2 seed unequivocally. And it's straight like that. Smash that like button. You guys were tuned into the Eagles pregame show featuring Coach Markus from Pro Fan Talk and Tony Shields II.
Let's go.
Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Hey, Markus, spin that shit.
Go Birds.
In the city of Philly, where the birds take flight, Eagle swag on the rise each and every night. Tone and Markus got the scoop ready to ignite. From the lanes of South Street to the Broad Street lights, dashing like a running back, hitting every play. 9 guys in the zone, never led astray. Talking touchdowns, talking game day. Huddle around the mic, hear what they gotta say. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die. Philly squad, hear the battle cry. Fly like an eagle soaring in the sky. Tone and Markus always standing by, bringing their heat, call it do or die.